get ready for the second half of tonight's chat. Everybody go ahead and get a drink of water. I hope that you all are preparing. Yeah, okay, that's why Deanna posts her dinner pictures because it helps her, but it always helps somebody else. Like today, Deanna posted about shepherd's pie, and so just like me, now who else is thinking about shepherd's pie? Yeah, I know, lots of us. Okay, so in the second half of tonight's chat, we're going to be talking about the summer of savings and wrapping it up. If you're new to this, we do two halves of the chat. The first half is the classroom portion of whatever WW talked about the week before. The second half is usually something fun. Tonight we are wrapping up the summer of savings. So it's not fun, but it's fun. I've had a good time this summer. So let's see. Oh, Phyllis is new. Hello, Phyllis. Hello and welcome. So Phyllis is new and she wants to know where to post these things. So Phyllis, when you do your homework, if you are on the If You Have an Egg page right now, you can post your homework here. Or if you would like to join our If You Have an Egg Facebook group, and that is a closed group so that you can make private comments and the whole world's not going to see them. It's just other WW people that we've let in. Carol or someone can probably share, or Debbie can share that link for you so that you can join that. You can do your homework there. If you could, please either use the hashtag for the homework or do the @ symbol, and do, here you would do If You Have an Egg. If you post on Instagram, it would be If You Have an Egg. If you did it on Connect, it's If You Have an Egg. Or if you are in our Facebook group, I usually see those. But yeah, so welcome. It is so nice to meet you, and I hope you will do your homework. So the second half of tonight's chat, we are winding down this summer of savings, and Phyllis, I hope that you can go back and watch some previous chats. So this is, and thank you, Carol, for posting that. So this is chat number 285. So that means that there are 284 of these that you do not have to go back and watch all at the same time. But if you go back, if you do have time, you can either listen to them or watch them. If you go back and listen to like the last 5 or 6, good night, Kathy. If you go back and listen to the last 5 or 6, then watch them or listen to them, and then you'll know what we're talking about on this summer of savings. But it's officially, so the summer of savings is officially over. Okay, we're doing the wrap up. I'm going to tell you all how I did. So that so you can see how I did with the summer of savings, and I'm going to let you know how much I saved. And if we have time while I'm talking, I'll show you what I'm going to make for this week, which goes along with the summer of savings. I'm not really making anything, but we'll just chat about it for just a second. Okay, so for the summer of savings, we ended up doing this for, it was right at 6 or 8 weeks. Let me see how many weeks it was. 8 weeks. So it was an 8-week adventure for me. So here's how it went, and I want to know how yours went. If you participated in any or all of these, I want to know how yours went. So in chat number 279, we talked about saving energy in the kitchen, and we talked about things like not using the oven, not using the top of the stove, using, like if you have an air fryer, which I always point the wrong direction. If you have an air fryer, like I have 2 here at work, I have 2 Simple Living Products air fryers. I have a Nesco pressure cooker, pressure canner, the microwave, things like that, not toaster oven, like a waffle iron, something like that. But to not turn on your stove, avoid turning on your stove as much as you could. Go outside and grill maybe, but just ways to save energy costs. So I have a graphic that I'm going to have Jessica post when she posts the chat in the next day or two. And I think the graph from my utility company says it all. I'll show you the graph, what it looks like. So the tall bars are last year, and the short bars are this year. Okay, that's just for the last couple of months. So, but I do think the graphic though says it all. Not using my oven, so I don't think I turned my oven on. I don't think I turned it on one time. Like, I don't think I turned my actual oven on one time this summer. And I didn't really use the top of the stove very much. I tried to use some of the other appliances that don't put off as much heat. And if you go back and watch or listen to chat number 279, we talk about what some of those appliances are. But doing that, we saved an average. It reduced our electric usage in July and August. July last year we used 1,275 kilowatts. This year it was 884. In August so far last year it was 1,439. August so far this year is 994. So that was a significant reduction in our kilowatt usage. We saved an average of $43 per month. One month was higher than the other two. An average of $43 per month this summer, even with this summer being some of the hottest temps recorded for that same time period, okay? That said a lot to me, okay? Just not turning on those appliances this summer. Then, I know, Phyllis, right? Wow, I mean, I wasn't expecting that, okay? And I know $43 might not sound like a lot, but that's $43. $43, okay? Good night, Linda. Linda's got a scoop, so everybody tell her good night. Then, in chat number 280, my friend Laura from At Laura's Table told us her 3 favorite ways to save money at the store. And then you all came up with lots of fantastic ways to save money at the store. So I did a few of those. I shopped the sales. I went at a different time so that I wasn't there when they were baking bread, making things that I was going to be tempted to buy. Okay, I mean, that one worked. So I was told, don't go when they're cooking rotisserie chicken, don't go when they're baking bread, don't go at a time of day when they're making all of these smelly, yummy things, and you end up buying them that you don't need. A, I didn't need them for my pocketbook, and B, didn't need them, for this. And I didn't go when I was hungry, so I had something to eat before I went every single time. And I didn't buy anything that wasn't on my list. So those were the 3 things I did. I shopped the sales. I went at a different time so that I didn't go when they were cooking or making yummy smelling things. And I didn't buy, 4 things, because I didn't go when I was hungry, and I didn't buy anything that was not on my list. My best guess is that I saved about $8 to $10 a week. And I started that before we did our summer of savings, so I had been doing it for about 10 weeks, so I saved approximately $90. So if it was an average of 8 to 10, and I started it a couple of weeks before this summer of savings started, so I saved about $90 doing that. $90 doing that. Well, that's our average weekly grocery bill, so I just made myself an extra week of groceries, basically. Okay, and then in chat number 281, we saw a few ways to make our own food, and in just money saved on grinding my own chicken breast. So thank you again, Julie. Thank you, Julie. And then thank you, Deanna, for reconfirming that and backing that up. I saved $11. So just grinding my own chicken, nothing else. So I did make my own cream cheese. I did make some of my own things, but in just the purchasing of fresh chicken breasts and grinding them myself, I saved $11 just in that. Okay, that's pretty cool. $11. Okay, and if I made a graph of my pleasure quotient over using food out of our garden, what we already owned, using what we already owned, having my friends and family share in growing, picking, prepping, and preserving processes, all of those processes, that was unmeasurable, so I couldn't measure that. And Vicky, so okay, I should have sidetracked and said what to use to grind the meat. I did do some videos, and I'm going to try to put those together as a reel. I am not a reel, R-E-E-L. Just heard a little thunder, so be prepared. I'm not a reel, not R-E-A-L, an R-E-E-L expert. So I'm still working it out, but I did take some videos. But basically what you do is you cut the chicken breast into approximately 1-inch cubes. I laid them flat on a cookie sheet, froze them for like an hour. They weren't frozen, but I extra chilled them for about an hour, and then just put them in a food processor. And it was so stinking easy. And Julie and Deanna both taught me how to do it. So that was how we did the chicken. And when I get that reel, R-E-E-L, posted, I will definitely let you all know. But just sharing with my friends and family how to grow, how to pick, how to prep. We had so much fun learning how to use the wrong way. Learning how, everything's backwards for me. Anyway, learning how to use the Nesco pressure canner as a canner. I mean, you can see up here, we did peaches, we did green beans, we did blackberries. I need to crack open one of the blackberries and see how they turned out. And we froze things, just doing all of that. I can't measure that amount of pleasure for that. But in chat number 282, we learned how to do all of those things by reducing, learn how to do all those things, but just by reducing food waste. And I'm going to put a value. So doing all of those things, prepping, picking, growing, all of those things. we significantly reduced our food waste, and I'm going to put a price of over $60 saved on that one just from not throwing things away. Okay. And I may, you know what? I'm going to take a few minutes and just go ahead and put this together just to show you all an example of that. So that was just from chat number 282, talking about how to preserve things and how to save things and how to reuse things. Like the just one example, the when we were talking about you know, using things up and not, you know, not throwing them away. I had the kind of gangly looking tomatoes, and I did the end of season tomatoes that my mom used to like to make. And if you saw that post, it was on, I ate them on 2 tortillas. So I had just enough tomatoes. I mean, look, they were really gangly looking. Okay. They were like end of the season. Normal me, like last year me, would have just chucked them out back or would have put them in the compost or something else. But this year me kind of cut off the, you know, questionable spaces, you know, whatever. And I made some end of season tomatoes, which are a recipe that my mom came up with. And that recipe's already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. I did that, and oh my gosh, with some leftover fat-free ricotta cheese on some tortillas and heated them up in the air fryer. Fantastic. That was the best thing I had in the 3 days that I did the Shop Your Pantry challenge, which we'll talk about in a second. But just as an example, a couple of things that we had left over in the garden, and that's weird, like our zucchini, yellow squash, and cucumbers really didn't do a lot. Like they didn't do a lot, but they're blooming again. And I don't know what is up with that. So we may yet get some more. But so I've got a yellow squash, a zucchini, and a cucumber left. And I have some tomatoes. So we had a few tomatoes left. So we're just going to sidetrack real quick and make my salad for next week. Again, out of some things that we have left over. So when we were talking about, you know, reducing your food waste, is it's a huge way. First of all, it was very satisfying to use things out of the garden, to come up with ways to preserve things, to try ways of preserving things that I had never thought about before. You know, and what did I say? That saved $60. I saved approximately $60 just from not throwing things away. So some of the things, and sorry that's so loud, some of the things like the tomatoes, you know, I had to cook them a different way. I had to make them a little bit different way than I normally would have just to be able to use them up. But it was so nice. It was so nice not to throw them away. So this is just a yellow squash that's left. And just for the sake of time and your poor ears, I will not cut the whole thing up. I'll just get it started. So it was a yellow squash. We've got kind of a ratty looking, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's kind of a ratty looking zucchini. You know, it's got some, the skin of the zucchini kind of looks like a, like a manatee. It looks like, you know, I don't know. It looks like it had some visitors in the garden that, you know, that kind of roughed it up a little bit. But we've got a leftover zucchini. And, you know, and we've had these things roasted. We've had them, gosh almighty, we've had them cooked in the air fryer. I've eaten so many vegetables. So side bonus to all of this is not only have I saved money, but eating all of these vegetables and learning how to preserve all of these things and taking advice from people, you know, like Debbie and from Carol, who do a lot of things like this, Deanna and Julie, you know, taking their advice on how to do some of these things. Consuming this many vegetables and adding back this many points from vegetables, I am back to within 8 pounds of being at my goal weight. Woo-hoo-hoo. So aside from saving money, okay, and talk about saving money. So once I meet that 8 pounds, I mean, I'm on the home stretch. Once I hit that 8 pounds, and then I'll save even more money because I'll be back to being free. So I don't know if you all have ever been free, if you've ever made it to goal and been able to go to an in-person workshop and not have to pay. That is a wonderful and fantastic feeling. Okay, so I'll cut up the rest of that after the chat is over, but that is some leftover tomatoes, zucchini, yellow squash, and cucumbers, and I have this much leftover fat-free feta cheese. So I'm going to throw that in there. So those are leftovers. So I'm not going to let anything go to waste. We're going to put the rest of the remaining fat-free feta cheese is going to go in there. Oops. So now that container is good and empty. Then I have some leftover craisins. And these are 50% less sugar craisins. Probably more than I meant to put in there. But 50% less sugar craisins. I accidentally bought these one day. I didn't even know that I was getting them. They have way less points. And this is quinoa that we made earlier in the week. So Kendall and I here at Casey Kitchen Center, we made quinoa. Wrong direction, Kelly. We made quinoa in the Nesco pressure cooker. And look how perfectly it turned out. If you can see that. So this is just leftover quinoa. Normally, I probably would have just thrown it away. So we used this in the stuffed peppers that we made last week. The second batch of those, Kendall and I used leftover, we used some quinoa in that. And then I used some in some chili another day. So using up all of that. And then I have part of a bottle of G. Hughes sugar-free raspberry that's just been sitting in the refrigerator because I have like every flavor of G. Hughes salad dressing. So there's a lot of it. And actually I have on my, if you can read it, I have on my G. Hughes t-shirt today. But yeah, so some of this dressing, and this is the raspberry vinaigrette, and it is sugar-free, and it is delicious. It is delicious. And I've still got some more yellow squash, zucchini, and again, cucumbers to cut up after we get off here tonight. But look how pretty this is. And this is not even, I mean, this is not a recipe. This is we just took, you know, what was left over out of the garden, or what was left over from when you went to the farmer's market, left over from making stuffed peppers, you know, a bottle of half-used salad dressing, you know, and this would have been so easy to let this go to waste, but look how pretty that is. That is so pretty. Okay, and I did not bring a fork, but we're still going to try it. So this is G. Hughes sugar-free raspberry vinaigrette, leftover zucchini, squash, and cucumber out of the garden, some leftover quinoa, dried cranberries, some 50% less sugar dried cranberries, and the last of the feta cheese that was in the refrigerator. And some tomatoes. That's going to be my salad for lunch this week. Okay, so see how easy that is? Took what? 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and we are reducing food waste. Okay, so let me breathe for just a second because I ran through that one super fast. Okay, so doing that, not throwing stuff away, using food that we had, again, not throwing it away, using it up, figuring out some way to use it, that saved about $60 during this, you know, process. Saved me about $60. Okay, and I can slow way down. What kind, I want to ask, because now I want to chop up the rest of this. What do you all do with your leftover food? So in order to reduce food waste, let's just chat for a minute because we still have like 11 minutes. And yes, so Cindy wants to know if I like raw squash, that she's never tried it. So let me just show you. Okay, I did not mean to turn this into an eating thing, and I really wish that I had brought a fork over here. But this is yellow squash. This is raw yellow squash. It's so good. I would totally throw that in. It's just a salad ingredient. Oh, good one, Carol. Good one. Carol says soup. I make a bunch every weekend with anything left over or going bad veggies. That is a perfect one. And Anita says, try adding spices and make a different meal with her leftovers. Perfect. That is perfect. And and Phyllis says she's never tried raw yellow squash either. It's good. I mean, it's kind of bland. So I probably, I don't know that I would. Well, here, let's just try a bite. So here's yellow squash with nothing on it. It's just kind of a mild flavor. Actually, it's pretty good. I don't think I've ever had it just by itself. Let's see. Debbie says she meal preps all of the ingredients, not meals. And so she can make different things with, hold on. So she can make different, different flavored rice bowls. That sounds delicious. So what different flavors of rice bowls do you like to make, Debbie? While I make myself hungry, cutting the rest of this up. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah, Debbie and Carol and Deanna does too. They have some great ideas on things like that. Okay, sorry, I just got excited and wanted to cut the rest of that. Okay, so let me not run us out of time here. So the salad, great idea. Using the rest of the quinoa, great idea. I'm telling you, using wrong direction. Oh wait, hold on. Debbie says Greek pizza and taco bowls. Those sound fantastic. Y'all are making me hungry because I haven't had supper yet. But using the Nesco pressure cooker for the quinoa, I'll have to tell you another day how to make that, but it made it so stinking easy. We literally rinsed it, put it in there, walked off, and then it beeped when it was done. Ta-da! And we had quinoa. So there was no standing there stirring over it. No, there's no big deal. And Carol says if you spiralize yellow squash, it looks like spaghetti and is bland and mild, so just add sauce. That is a perfect use of yellow squash. Okay, so that was $60 saved, not throwing food away. About $60 saved, not throwing food away. Then in chat number 283, we started the 3-day pantry challenge, okay? And boy howdy, was that one an eye-opener. I did it for more than 3 days. And y'all already know that I found 15 individual bags of popcorn. I found 2 large bags of Bob's Red Mill rolled oats. And those are expensive. I mean, I don't know, it's probably $8 or $10, for a bag of those. I found 2 big bags of those. And I did it for way more than the 3 days. So much so that last week when I went to the grocery store, I was able to use a bag of change to pay for my groceries. And between using duplicates, not buying much more than perishables, so I basically just bought perishables last week, and then not eating out, do you all want to guess in a week's time? So now I did it for more than 3 days, and I'm going to cut these up because I'm going to make you all guess. So I did the 3-day Shop Your Pantry challenge for a week. So that's more than 3 days. But do you all want to guess between not eating out, using what I had, using up duplicates, do you all want to guess how much I saved in 1 week on that? And I want a couple of answers before I go back to this. Let's see, Debbie said, had the best shrimp fried rice with cauliflower rice Friday night. Yum, with leftovers in the refrigerator. Okay, so how much do you all guess that I saved that week? Plus, I came up with some pretty interesting things. Okay, Carol says $50. I did come up with some pretty interesting things. Lynn says $30. So, no eating out. Used what I had. Used up duplicates. Had a lot of vegetables. Again, and the week that I did that, again, okay, Phyllis says $100. So, side note, bonus, the week that I did the Shop Your Pantry challenge, and Debbie says 75, Leslie says 60. The week that I did that, I also lost 2 pounds, just so you know. So I saved money and I lost 2 pounds. Okay. So that week, over $80. Oh yeah, Pam was right on it. So over $80 in 1 week. So just not eating out, using up the duplicates that I had, or new things that I had, not buying any more duplicates, and using enough things that we already had in our pantry to be able to just use a bag of change to get our groceries. I saved over $80 in that 1 week, okay? And lost 2 pounds. So I was super excited about that. Okay, this 8-week adventure. So for me, it ended up being about an 8-week adventure doing this summer of savings challenge. I don't know if any of you all participated or if you want to start it and make it a fall challenge or, you know, whatever. But in that 8 weeks, I lost, let me think. In that 8 weeks, I lost a little over 3 pounds. It was like 3.5 pounds. So it got me down to 8 pounds within 8 pounds to goal. And we saved approximately, so the total of all of this, the electric bill, the not throwing food away, the making my own chicken breast, or not making my own ground chicken breast, sharing things, using things at the garden, not going and getting extra things at the store, saved our family. Drum roll, please. So over 8 weeks, we saved approximately $327. What? $327. What? That is crazy. Plus, I didn't do a lot of extra driving around. I didn't even count how much I saved in gas from not driving around to all these places, from just using this power and walking to the refrigerator instead of driving somewhere and getting food. I didn't even count that. So over about $327. Yeah, Debbie, I just said that. You beat me to it. That does not count not getting gas to go to the store or to go, any of these other places. So about $327. Anyway, this is something that I'm definitely going to put on repeat. This is a habit that I'm definitely going to put on repeat. I mean, obviously I'm not stopping, so I'm still, cutting up things to go in this big bowl. I mean, look how big this is. Oh, good Lord, I can barely pick it up. So just with the tomatoes, I'm going to add the rest of that leftover quinoa. I've still got a tiny bit of the cucumber and the zucchini left to cut up, but just using these leftover things, and this is delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, Debbie said I said it just as she finished typing that. But all of this is things I already had. So this is nothing bought new. Things that we already had, things that were left over, or things that were left over out of the garden, or that were left over from something else. So none of this was a new purchase. And look, oh my gosh, look how big this bowl is. So that's going to last me for days. And look how pretty that is. So I'm going to keep continuing this. I'm kind of liking this saving money thing because, I got other stuff I'd rather spend the money on. Okay, so how did you do? Did any of you all do the summer of savings? Did any of you all try any of these things to save this week? I would love to know. I would love for you to comment, post in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and comment. If you're watching this later on YouTube, go ahead and tell me. Go ahead and post it in the comments. We would love to know. So as many things as I did here to save money, you all have so many more ideas. I mean, now I want to do Debbie's idea of, of making ahead the rice so that I can have that prepared and ready to go, just to add some different flavorings and have that to go. So I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to keep doing this. I've had a great time with this summer of savings. I hope you have too. Oh, yep, and Carol did Living Off the Land this week, and that's what Deanna calls it. I think it's so funny. So Carol did Living Off the Land this week, and how did that work, Carol? Because we got like 2 more minutes, and you can talk about that. Let's see, Cindy said, first time, what is the start and stop time? So first time being here with the chats. If you're talking about first time with the chats, we start at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we end at 9 p.m., so we have like 2 minutes before we're going to wrap this up. But yeah, if you all did the summer challenge, the summer savings challenge, let me know. If not, you didn't have to end just because it's summer. But I hope that you all will let me know how you did. I hope you'll let me know if you come up with any money saving ideas so we can try them here too. And I actually can't wait to try to dig into this salad next week. It is going to be fantastic. But thank you all so much again for being here. If you're watching this later on YouTube, go ahead and let that next video roll over. I promise you'll enjoy it, and it will explain some more about this Summer of Savings Challenge. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button down here to subscribe, and do click that little bell to make sure that you know when the next video is posted. But looks like we have avoided the storm. Woohoo! Awesome. Thank you all for sending good thoughts this way so that we could avoid that. But you all have a great week, and I will see you next time. Good night.